AI vertical, the main purpose is for you to not think of it as a research lab or as a POC factory, but it is a vertical that is going to ensure there is a continuous value coming out of it. We are very used to in organizations where we are departmentalized and given a very clear responsibilities, and we try to live within those boundaries. For any successful project, you need to have a cross-functional team. It is the AI vertical's responsibility to help enable that kind of pods which are cross-functional in nature. Only then a system level value creation can happen in a big enterprises, and that's why AI verticals are becoming very, very critical part now. Almost everyone in organizations or in general is able to see the potential that exists with AI. So everyone is using in their own personal lives, their work. Developers are hardly coding these days. They are taking a lot of help from these models. So you are seeing at an individual level of productivity increasing. But what you are not yet seeing is at an enterprise level, the overall productivity or new business models or new growth channels converting into value yet, right? So maybe a year back or maybe 2 years back, the kind of discussions in the board were about how do you start AI, how do you get POCs going, and what do we know about it? Are we using it or not? Now that discussion has changed into how do you create value in a systematic way. And one of the best analogies I have is like not too long back, maybe 15, 20 years back, when a lot of people were talking about digital transformation. The retailers would say e-commerce is just yet another store for me, and all I have to do is digitize my catalog and being able to do digital sales and growth. And slowly everyone realized it's not about digitization of the catalog, and it's about different strategy of the assortment you need to have. You need to have a different pricing strategies. You need to have a different warehouse processes and store delivery processes. The expectation of customer on a delivery timelines are very different. The marketing has to be very different. The digital outreach has to be very different. And business operations and the content that you need to put is very different. So it's an end-to-end transformation. And relating it back to AI, from an individual productivity to going to a really organizational transformation where you can really transform and build your organization for the future. It's not about individual POCs. It is not really about individual productivity gains of using co-pilots. And that is where AI vertical comes in. AI vertical brings that systematic, aligned, value-oriented AI corporate vision. Bringing all that together is the job of an AI vertical, and as a leader of AI vertical, that's what you need to deliver for the organization. For any project, AI or non-AI, the basics remain the same. So if you are doing a project because it's very interesting, or there is a new model that I want to try a new model, or there is a new technique I read and I want to do that, that's not going to generate the value. The fundamentals of a value creation, which is starting from a problem first, customer orientation, being able to put the cross-functional team who have a domain knowledge, tech knowledge, data knowledge, product knowledge, those basics remain the same. One of the things I propose as for the companies is something I call a use case templatization. And there is a 3D lens that I put on those use case templatization. So one is why you are doing that project, right? What is the company's priorities that you are aligning it to? There could be a productivity-oriented priorities, there could be a growth-oriented new revenue thing, or it could be a completely transformation-oriented, generating a new lines of business priorities, right? So once you have that lens of why you're doing it, what is the objective, that gives you some framework in terms of how will you measure the value out of it. A productivity-oriented use case is different from a growth-oriented use case or a transformation-oriented use case. So there is that type of templatization or dimension is important for that. The second dimension that I propose for people to think about what is a domain you are solving in, whether it is on the marketing or customer service, or it is going to be operational aspect, or what is that domain. The third lens I would put is what is the technique you are going to use. So if you are going to use a vision LLMs and it's a very vision oriented things, the kind of guardrails you need, the kind of governance you need, the kind of vendor partnerships you need to establish is different. If you are doing a more voice oriented, if you're doing a lot of text and unstructured data oriented, if you're doing something which is very, very language oriented or a new content oriented, you're going to use a different models, different techniques, and so on and so forth. Being able to put right objectives, putting the right domain and bringing the right stakeholders, and putting the right solutioning or the technical tools that you're going to bring in helps you build a use case template that you can then use at a scale in an organization to put the use cases which will finally lead to value creation. AI vertical, the main purpose is for you to not think of it as a research lab or as a POC factory, but it is a vertical that is going to ensure there is a continuous value coming out of it. There are 3-4 attributes I would call which are very essential for any AI vertical. Number one, their fundamental job is alignment. Alignment of what is happening on AI is aligned with the corporate vision. That alignment and AI POCs are not happening for the sake of it, but they are aligned with some of the prioritization that has been put for this year or for a long-term purpose of the organization. Alignment. The second thing I think it is very important is creating a reusability in the organization. What are the platforms, tools, partnerships that everyone in the organization can reuse? The third thing I would call an AI vertical is how do you create a cross-functional team? One of the fundamental things that have changed with AI, which didn't have to have so much, it was not so much important before that, was the nature of cross-functionality that is needed to make any project successful. We are very used to in organizations where we are departmentalized and we are given a very clear responsibilities, and we try to live within those boundaries. And AI is fundamentally challenging that thinking. For any successful project, you need to have a cross-functional team. It is the AI vertical's responsibility to help enable that kind of pods which are cross-functional in nature, right? And finally, I would say owning the life cycle from a POC to productionalizing it, to scaling it, to monitoring it, to retraining it, and then really putting that whole life cycle ownership has to be owned by AI vertical. Only then a system level value creation can happen in a big enterprises, and that's why AI verticals are becoming very, very critical part now.